Hello human beings, Cacti not Cactuses here, and today I'm going to be taking a look at some of my old Theme Park Tycoon 2 roller coasters and giving a bit of judgment on each of them and kind of critiquing them and telling you guys what I think is wrong with them. So I know a lot of my viewers like the game Theme Park Tycoon 2. In fact, that's how I've gotten like a lot of my views over like the past year, and I feel like it would be good to like help give tips on how to make better coasters, and I feel like a good way to do that would be reflecting on some of the old things that I've made and telling you guys like how I have improved on those things. Because I know I'm not the best builder in the world, but like I definitely think I've improved. So let's just get into it. The first one we're gonna look at is Biggie. This is the first Theme Park Tycoon 2 roller coaster that I uploaded on my channel, and it's not very good. So it's back when I was still recording with Screencast-O-Matic, so it's gonna be kind of laggy. But this might have been the first roller coaster in Insanity Park, because I remember I built this because I had like a ton of money from deleting all the old stuff I had in the park. Also, here's my urine bottle. I hope you guys like it. It's full of urine. Yeah, it's really good. No, just kidding. It's water. Here we go. So I'm gonna show you guys this coaster. So I don't really know what happened with the original recording. Originally, I recorded an actual POV, but it looks like I accidentally stopped recording. So I made this as tall as possible. I made some weird banking at the top. And first things first, I'm just going to pause it. You can see the drop is awful. So that's the first noticeable problem with this, I think. I mean, obviously there's a lot of problems, but the drop is very stiff. It crests downward, it stays at the same angle, and it just goes back to normal. And that's like no way to build a drop. I think you should, if you're building coasters, you should get like a lot of inspiration and motivation, from like actual real rides. And there's pretty much no regular roller coaster with a drop that looks like that. It's just insane. And yeah, and the banking and stuff is really weird. When you're doing like drops and ascending, you should definitely try to make it a little bit more gradual and not all rigid and stiff like that. The rest of this coaster, I mean, it's pretty obvious. All like the stuff that's wrong with it, especially you can see right here with those loops. I got them right out of the basic editor, which I don't recommend doing. They have a weird inversion right there, and obviously this is just bad building. Those unbanked turns that are just in a circle like that for no reason. Like don't build like that. Or when you build turns, bank them and don't make them too stiff or weird. So if we're looking at this one, Shuttle Roller Coaster POV. This is one of my first videos that got a decent amount of views. It has 2,094, and there's definitely better videos that I have that didn't get nearly as many views. So if we look at this one, it starts off with a little drop and then a launch into a top hat. Now there's not really anything inherently wrong with this top hat. It's pretty simple. This is one part of the ride that I can't really judge that much. It looks fine. But then you ascend into this weird turn hill thing, and it's not banked up here at all, and that is definitely not good. And you'll see why it's bad too. It just looks weird. Then you drop and you go into this inversion, which nothing inherently wrong with this. But then you go into this completely unbanked turn with a decent amount of speed. That's bad. And then you go up this giant spike, and now you're gonna see why the unbanked turn was really a problem. Right here, you go through that unbanked turn at such a great speed, and then there's another unbanked turn at another great speed. In real life, that would just be painful and unpleasant. And this ride, something you gotta remember is you have to build the actual parts of the ride proportionate to like the speed it has or that it's gonna have. And that was the problem with this ride. Some of the elements were just too small for how fast it was going down the spike. So you gotta make sure that that's all in check, and you can do that by looking into stats and checking if the G's are too high or too low. So next we're gonna look at Mineshaft Blitz. So I'm highlighting this one because this was a little bit longer after the last Theme Park Tycoon 2 video I had, and it's the first POV I uploaded that was built in Advanced Editor. So a lot of people are kind of scared of Advanced Editor just because it looks really hard, but once you get the hang of it, it's actually not that bad. You just gotta get used to it. But that does not mean this is a good ride. It's really not. So let's take a look-see at this. So first you launch up this incline on this hill. Now there's nothing inherently wrong with that. It's pretty fun to launch up a hill actually. We go up here, and I don't know why I kept turning, but then you go down this insane drop, which if you haven't noticed, this is about an 180-degree drop, which is completely upside down, and the speed at which you take it at, and like the overall snappy banking of it is just bad. And there's no roller coasters with that steep of a drop in real life. Then you go into this. It's hard to tell because of the lag, but you go into this this twist up here. You can see how rough this is. How awfully rough that is. Now, when you make a roller coaster with a launch like that, it's going at that speed. You're not going to want to have the banking that fast, and you're also going to want to smooth the coaster out by deleting 2 segments and then completing the node. So then you go up to another turn and then just do a random twist, which doesn't look terrible, but still not good. And if you can see, a lot of the bankings on this ride and the turns and stuff, it's unnatural. It's not heartlined or really smooth at all. There's something you gotta watch out for. Then there was another launch, which was not necessary at all. And I think the reason I put that was because I didn't know how fast it would be going after I was testing it. So I kind of just put that on there to see, till it'll be like, oh, fingers crossed, if it runs out of speed, it'll have more at this point. But always test your ride midway through. That's a good tip to have. So then you go into this dive loop, which there's nothing inherently wrong with that, but the way it kind of turns into that turn just looks unnatural. You go through a little bit of this. You go through an okay hill. The 0G roll, which again isn't that bad, but the turn after it's bad. It's just way too gradual for the type of ride that it is. And then you just go into this weirdly banked twist. I don't know, there isn't that much else I can say about this ride other than, oh yeah, the deco is pretty bad as well. Let's move on to the All My Coasters video. This one actually has a lot of ground to cover for me because it just shows a lot of things that I built and a lot of things I used to think were good but really weren't. So let's look at my old single rail coaster. I think it was called like Gold Rush or something. So first things first, there's kind of an unbanked turn off the chain lift, which that's not like automatically not a good thing, but it does look a bit weird. Then it starts going to this drop, which this drop it's okay at the start, but then it goes into this completely weird banked element that would like kill you in real life. That's like really rough. Then it goes into a random dive loop, and then that turn right there. Look at that in the middle. It should not look like that. That's just wrong. Like, you can't do that without banking it. And that was something old I had to fix on. Unbanked turn. It's just because I was building only small land plots. Now look at this. This turn's banked. It's not that good, but it's still banked. That's the thing though. Like I don't know why I made the layout like this on such like a small plot. Moving on is Sapphire Storm. This was my launch coaster. It's actually still my park, but I have made modifications to it. So at first there isn't that much that's a big deal about this. You go through this pretty fast launch. The banking onto the going up there is extremely sudden, which I fixed. You go over this crest right here, and then you have this really weird twisting drop. Now, what I was trying to do, I was trying to copy like popular launch coasters, namely like the Intamin ones that have the twisty drops. But I didn't even try to heartline it at all, like make it smoother. It just is spiraling downward for no reason, so that's not good. Then we have this kind of helix right here. Now at first this isn't that bad, but then look at that. To complete the helix, I made it turn extremely suddenly, which is unfavorable. So there's this really weird piece of terrain right here that just looks like some kind of hook, which I don't know why I did that, but I did. You go into this another really, the turns, it's not gradual enough. It starts gradual and then it just makes this really sharp twist, which is just unpleasant. So then looking at this one, for some reason I unbank and then bank again. I don't know why I did that. Go up to this pretty tame, boring helix, then down this really weird straight drop. It doesn't change the angle at all. Then to an unbanked turn to the station. So yeah, I don't know. It wasn't that good. It still is not one of my best coasters, but I think it's pretty good to have in my park. Also, so moving on is this is the original Vulture Roof here. So this has actually been fixed, but I still want to look at this ride because with almost the exact same layout, this coaster's gotten a lot of praise. But if you've only seen the old version of this, I recommend going and checking out my newest POV of this. It's in the Theme Park Tekken 2 playlist. So the ride starts out with this Beyond Vertical Drop, which I actually haven't changed. I don't really mind it. Then this really sharply crested hill, and an unbanked turn, which it's kind of okay. But then you go through this launch, and you'll notice the transition right here into this turn is really sharp. I don't know why. It's just ugly. So then you go up into this drop, which I'm not critiquing it yet. But then look at this upcoming part. This part's just unbanked. I fixed this by making the banking smoother, but right here, that's weird. Take a look at this part. Just from a distance, I tried so hard to fit in another inversion in here, and I failed miserably. Because you can see how weirdly that's banked, and it just goes through it so unnaturally, it's just insane. then the transition into this spike is bad. Then you go up into the spike, and you go through that little turn, at a really intense high, like really high speed. I don't even know why. I don't know why I thought that was smooth or okay, but it's just bad. So I'm gonna skip. So I'm just gonna pause it right there. So yeah, that's pretty much all I have to talk about for today. I just wanted to provide some, like, you know, insight onto my thoughts on some of my old coasters, because obviously not all of them are very good. I just wanted to, you know, say if people see these similarities in their coasters, they could find ways to improve themselves. Thanks for watching this, and remember, it's cacti, not cactuses. Stay prickly.